how's it going? Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to talk about a couple of the moto camping gear mistakes that I've made to hopefully help you not make these same mistakes. So some of these fell in trying to be comfortable moto camping. Some of these were just ideas that I had that I thought would make things easier, better, and even try to make things a little bit more lightweight, which turned out to be a bit of a mistake once I started putting it all together. So stick around and I'll talk about the moto camping gear mistakes that I've made, and hopefully you won't make those same ones too. Okay, one of the first moto camping gear mistakes I made was buying too big of a sleeping bag. I've already talked about sleeping bags in one of my previous videos, but this thing is huge and hard to pack on the bike. I was looking for something that was ultra warm and I didn't want to spend a lot of money, so I ended up buying this. I used it for about 3 trips and realized it was just too big. To give you an idea, this is a 40-liter dry bag. And it kind of fits in a 40-liter dry bag, but that is one big sleeping bag. The other problem with this is because it's so big is how do I pack this on the bike? Does it go on behind me on the seat? It certainly isn't going to fit in one of my saddlebags. So yeah, when you go to get a sleeping bag, spend the extra money, get something that's lightweight and that meets the temperature requirements that you have. Don't do what I did and buy this behemoth sleeping bag that you can't pack on the bike. This would be great for truck camping, but it is not a motorcycle sleeping bag. Okay, another mistake I made was buying a Thermarest compressed foam pillow to take with me. One, this pillow is huge to begin with for packing, and when you unpack it, the foam really just doesn't fluff back up. And it didn't provide a lot of support. I would have to mush it up and basically mush it back up to where it's the same size it was folded up. So that really wasn't a useful pillow to have, especially when you can get these Sea to Summit. Nemo makes a small air pillow that is functionally the same size, is more supportive. And I think this Thermarest pillow cost almost as much as the Sea to Summit. So these foam pillows, if you're motorcycle camping, just skip it. I also made the mistake of trying to get the smallest, lightest chair I could to take with me camping to reduce the size, but to have something comfortable to sit in. What I found is, yeah, it's light, yes, it's small. I can't get out of this thing. It sits so low to the ground. So the chair I'm in now is a little bit more comfortable. You can see how high it is, and I'll set this up and show you. But it's worth maybe having a little bit bigger chair so that you can sit more comfortably and not struggle to get out of it. So let's put this chair together real quick. For comparison, it doesn't look like these chairs are much different in height, but just that little bit makes it really challenging to get out of this chair. And this one is a little bit more comfortable because my legs can be a little bit more upright, as you can see when I was doing the filming. So I will show you what happens in this chair. So one is, I feel like I have to go all the way to the ground, and now my legs are nearly crossed. And to get out of this thing, I've got to get up and give it a really good roll. But I've also found that if I'm in soft ground and one side starts going over, or if I try to give it a leap up, it starts coming over. So this chair can be kind of a struggle to get out of. So if you're going to get a chair, get something that has a little bit longer legs than these. Right, in my effort to go smaller, as I was learning that some of my gear was too big, I picked up a one-man tent, thinking that this would be perfect. It would reduce the size of everything, and it did. The tent packed down is quite small, and the tent poles are pretty easy to tuck onto the bike. But what I found is that this tent, being a one-man tent, was much too small. I like to keep my motorcycle gear in my tent with helmet and jacket, pants, and then also my clothes, things like that. This tent is so small, and I will show you how small it is, that there was just no room. So I either had the option of laying on top of my gear, maybe putting my pad on top of my gear, or just sleeping in it. So this was not a great purchase. I did pick it up at an REI garage sale, so it wasn't super expensive, but it was a poor choice. I think for motorcycle camping, a two-man tent is the way to go if you're traveling solo, so you have a place for your gear. So don't make this mistake in thinking that you can go smaller and lighter and sacrifice some of the conveniences of having like a two-man tent. So I'll show you the size of this and some of the difficulties in using it. So don't make this mistake. One-man tent. Feet touch, head almost touches. Just not a lot of room in here, and been banging my head into my helmet. So it's doable, but a two-man tent is not that much bigger, and that little extra space is totally worth it. So something to think about. I consider this to be a mistake buying this tent. One of the mistakes that I made was buying this Alps Mountaineering Ready Light cot. I was trying to find ways to sleep more comfortably. I had a pretty thin air mattress, so I thought that if I had got a cot and then put the thin air mattress on it, it would be more comfortable. And it was quite comfortable. But what I found is this thing weighs between 6 and 8 pounds. It's fairly bulky, and it takes up space when you're packing it on the bike. And then it is difficult to get in the tent. You have to set this up outside the tent and then squeeze it in. I have a bit of a smaller two-man tent, and I was having to pull the door wide open to try to squeeze this in. It was comfortable for sleeping on, but because of the weight and the bulk and some of the difficulties getting this put in the tent, it just wasn't worth it. And this was not cheap. I could have, had I known better, picked up one of the Thermarest Neo Air campers, and this one is 3 inches thick. It's the XL, so it's really big. Fits easily in my tent. Costs less than the cot did. So don't make the mistake of buying a cot thinking it's going to make things easier, because it just adds weight to your gear, and technically getting it set up, especially if it's raining outside and you got to set it up outside the tent to put it in, it ends up being more hassle than it's worth. So if you are going to spend your money on some comfortable sleeping pads, there's a lot of really great air pads that pack down small that are light. So don't do what I did and buy a cot. Alright, this last moto camping gear mistake that I made, I enjoyed using this, and I will show you what this is real quick, but this is probably close to 10 pounds and it's a bit bulky. So what this is a portable campfire pit. And the reason why I got this is I wanted to have something that was easy to cook on when I was doing primitive camping, where fire pits can be big, it's kind of hard to put a grill on, and trying to be responsible, keeping my fire footprint small. So I picked this up, and it just sits here, and you open this up, set it there, and put that in, add the grill to the top, and I've got a nice small fire pit that I can control the size of the fire. It doesn't get overly hot like normal campfires. If you're doing it on the ground, the coals in there get hot, they stay hot, they hold their heat for a really long time. Where this, because I could dump the ashes out, it wasn't as big of a fire, it kept it small, and it made it nice for cooking. I really enjoyed this, and I used this for about 6 or 9 months, then I realized just weight-wise it wasn't worth it. Car camping, it's fantastic, but it's really not something that should be taken on a motorcycle trip unless you just like carrying every possible thing you have. So in an effort to get smaller and lighter, as much as I like carrying this little campfire stove or fire pit, it just wasn't going to work for me. So functionally it works great, but not great for motorcycle camping. Thanks for watching. Hopefully you found this a little bit useful and maybe even a little bit entertaining, and it may prevent you from making some of the same mistakes I made in buying moto camping gear. Now I know travel is still a bit challenging right now, so do what you can to keep yourself safe, and when you do get a chance to get out, I hope you enjoy it. Try out some of the new gear hopefully you've picked up and that it works for you, and I will see you out there. That's it.